Hey there, race fans. It's Race Day Top 5 with me, Frank 5. Speed Weeks is already getting underway with all the qualifying sessions and all the races to set the starting lineup for the Daytona 500. We had all that the last 2 days. The field is finally set. So let's talk about who starts where, who got in, and who is left on the outside looking in. Number 1, Hendricks Motorsports. These guys are just phenomenal at qualifying for the front row for the Daytona 500. For the 14th time in their career as a race team in the Daytona 500, Hendricks Motorsports has a man that will lead the field to the green flag on Sunday for the Great American Race. And that driver is Alex Bowman in his brand new ride, the number 48 Ally Chevrolet. He won the pole in Wednesday night's qualifying session with his teammate William Byron taking the outside pole for the Great American Race. I mean, Hendricks Motorsports has just been phenomenal qualifying on the front row for the Great American Race the last couple of years. And by the way, 4th year in a row for Alex Bowman to be on the front row for the Great American Race. Bravo, Alex Bowman. You are certainly one of the masters of qualifying on the front row for the biggest race in NASCAR. You're just incredible at that. Great job by not just the drivers, mostly the credit's given to the crew chiefs and the job that they do to give these guys the opportunity to try to sit on the front row. Alex Bowman's crew chief, Greg Ives. William Byron's new crew chief, a crew chief he's worked with in the Truck Series before, Ryan Rudy Fugel. Phenomenal job by both those guys. Hendricks Motorsports has just been great at qualifying. They have not been on the front row for the Great American Race since I believe it was 2012 when both the Roush cars, and at the time Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle were the drivers that sat on the front row for Sunday's Great American Race. This time, ever since 2013, a Hendrick car has been on the front row. No, wait a minute. My mistake. 2014, we didn't have a Hendrick car in the front row. It was a Richard Childress car in Austin Dillon and a Furniture Row car in Martin Truex Jr. with RCR Power at the time. Since 2015, Hendrick has been on the front row for the Great American Race, whether it was the pole or the outside pole. Of course, last year, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. shocked the NASCAR world by winning the pole for the Great American Race with the Hendrick engine. And Alex Bowman sat on the front row. But Bowman has picked up his second Daytona 500 pole. Of course, the first one he won was the first year he was driving for Hendricks Motorsports in 2018 in the 88 car. Isn't it kind of funny how Alex Bowman, every year since he's been with Hendrick, that he's replaced 2 legends when they retired? He replaced Dale Jr. when he retired after 2017, won the pole for the Great American Race, and then he is called to drive the 48 after Jimmy Johnson announced his retirement, and he goes on to win the pole for the Great American Race. Coincidence? I would think so, or would think not. I don't know. But great job by Alex Bowman. Great job by William Byron. Both of them are on the front row for now, because there's some stories I will get into later. Number 2, the other storyline about qualifying on Wednesday night, which 2 teams without a charter would lock themselves in via qualifying speed. And Ryan Preece for JTG Doherty Racing and David Reagan for a 3rd Front Row Motorsports entry that's only doing a one-off race timed their way into the Great American Race through Wednesday's qualifying session. Ryan Preece, I was really worried about Ryan Preece, even though I saw the speed in practice. I was wondering, was he going to back it up in qualifying? Because this is the team that won the pole last year with Ricky Stenhouse, so they qualify well with Hendrick engines. But this team does not have a charter because they lost it in the offseason, so they have to qualify for every race, and that means you have to qualify. You know, if you miss this race, and if you're running the full season without a charter, you could be behind the 8 ball. But thankfully, Ryan Preece timed his way in, did a great job with the Cottonelle Chevrolet. He's locked into the field. David Reagan also timed his way in. I'll be honest, folks, I did not have David Reagan making the 500, but, you know, I can't do anything about qualifying. Crew members got to go out and do it. So kudos to the Unadilla, Georgia boy. He's really good at Daytona, great super speedway racer. I've got a feeling he will be in the mix for the win come time on Sunday. Number 3, Bluegreen Vacations Duel at Daytona race number 1. So far, Erik Amarola is just enjoying life right now. His Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the Super Bowl. Boo! Don't like Tom Brady. And he comes to Daytona, a track where he's got his first career win at in 2014 in the Cup Series, driving the Fame 43. Last night captured the first Blue-Green Vacation Duel at Daytona, winning it over Christopher Bell, Ryan Newman, Joey Logano, and Ryan Preece. Almirola was just dominant the entire race. I mean, the Fords didn't show a lot of speed in qualifying, but by golly, when they get in race trim, those things are just making so much horsepower, pulling the pack around. passing guys. These Fords are just unbelievably fast on super speedways, folks. And Erik Amarola is a really good super speedway racer. Of course, his last NASCAR win was at Talladega in 2018. So I would not be surprised if we see Erik Amarola battling for the win come Sunday. He's a really good super speedway racer. You all remember, he almost won the Daytona 500 in 2018 until he got bumped in the end by Austin Dillon. And I'll get to him in a second. But Erik Amarola has already thrown his hat in the ring that he's going to be a top 10 car battling for the win on Sunday. He's going to be fast. And I think the Smithfield team is going to do even bigger things this year. They've made the playoffs the last couple of years, but they haven't won since 2018. I think that changes this year because Erik Amarola, ever since he came to that 10 car in 2018, it's just turned into a top 10, top 15 driver on a consistent basis. He's just really good. Number 4, Austin Dillon, as I mentioned, a former winner of the Daytona 500, captured his first Blue-Green Vacation Duel in Daytona last night by winning over Bubba Wallace, which, believe it or not, the 500 Dillon won. Bubba finished second behind him. Those in the 43 car. These still pretty legendary numbers. 3 in NASCAR, 23 in NBA, and pretty much all around. That's pretty amazing number. Those two were top 2, followed by Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and defending NASCAR Cup champion Chase Elliott. Austin Dillon, I'll tell you what, the Chevys looked really strong in duel number 2 more than they did number 1. They were kind of outperformed by some of the Fords, and of course you had the Toyotas in there. There were some Fords in this race too, but they didn't really get together like I thought they would. At times they did, but the Chevys just kind of kept breaking them up. Austin Dillon up there, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, Ross Chastain, even Corey LaJoie. The Chevys just got the best of the Fords and the Toyotas last night in Duel 2, though Bubba Wallace looked to be the strongest Toyota because he could pull a pack around. He was pretty fast. He got shuffled back twice, but kept working his way back to the front. He was in position on the last lap to win the duel because he made a 3-wide pass on the back straightaway, shuffling Martin Truex Jr., his corporate teammate, out of the lead. Unfortunately, Dillon got the runoff of 4 with help from Kevin Harvick, and that propelled Dillon to win his first ever duel at Daytona. And I expect the 3 car, our 2018 winner, to be a threat on Sunday. But while all that was happening, there was a crash towards the end of the race, and I'll talk about that as well in the second part. But there were some cars that were taken down in that crash, including Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, though they finished. But the biggest notable in that crash was William Byron, folks. This is not good. He's going to have to go to backup car, which means he's starting at the rear on Sunday. And oh, by the way, Alex Bowman in Duel 1 had an engine problem. Though the car, it shut off, and then it finally got running again. He got back out with the guys a couple laps down. They don't think the issue is terminal, so they're going to work on it, and they're going to see how it handles in practice tomorrow before Sunday's Great American Race. And unfortunately, if they have to change the engine, Taylor and Charlie, which means Erik Amarola and Austin Dillon, will lead us to the green flag on Sunday. So, just when Hendricks Motorsports had the front row, problems happen. So, yeah, that's pretty bad for Hendricks Motorsports. And number 5, the 2 drivers in each duel, 1 driver in each duel, that made the Daytona 500. Let me just say it was an interesting storyline last night. So Ryan Preece, who's already locked in Duel 1, raced his way in again, beating out Ty Dillon, who needed to make the race. So since Preece edged out Ty, Austin Cindric, who lost the pack because he caught for speeding on the green flag pit stop and fell a lap down, that ultimately puts Austin Cindric into the 500 because he's the next car in line on speed. I like Austin Cindric, I like Ty Dillon, but a lot of comments I saw, people were saying Ty got screwed because Ryan Preece was already locked in, and they're like, if he's locked in, he doesn't deserve to fight for a transfer spot. Well, back then when we had the top 35 rule, and if you were one of the fastest cars, not in the top 35, that timed your way in and you advance in again, that locks in the next guy on speeds. That's how it works. I will admit, I wanted Ty Dillon to make it after Cindric wasn't one of the top 2 in qualifying time because of the 36. But, it's unfortunate for Ty Dillon. He'll try to make the Roval next weekend. I mean, this wasn't a full-time ride for him this year. He's just running this race, which he ultimately missed, and the road course next weekend, which I think he'll make it because I don't think we're going to have more than 40 entries next weekend. I'd be shocked if we did. So yeah, and the other thing is that Timmy Hill also did not make the race. He fell a lap down after he lost the pack. So as a Maryland boy, I kind of feel a little bit bad though, and it was going to be tough for him to beat Cindric and Ty Dillon anyways. And then in Duel 2, late in the going, Noah Gragson had a chance to make the 500 driving for Beard Motorsports and the late car owner Mark Beard, who passed away just a couple of weeks ago. He was in position late in the race, and then Garrett Smithley, who needed to race his way in, made a boneheaded move going through the middle where he was 3 wide between Gregson and Keselowski, and the hole was just closing up, and it wasn't there, bud. And that turned Keselowski into the wall and turned Noah Gregson into the wall, knocking him out of the Daytona 500. And that was the crash that also collected Byron and Ross Chastain. So that ultimately allowed David Ragan, who was locked in on speed, to race his way in again, which propelled Colleague Racing and Kaz Grala, who was involved in an earlier crash, into the Daytona 500. So Austin Cindric and Kaz Grala, congrats, you guys made it. I feel bad for Ty Dillon. I feel bad for Noah Gragson. I'm not happy with Garrett Smithley right now. Yeah, I saw the comments. Everybody is not happy with him right now. He drove like an idiot through the middle. Where are you going to go, dude? I mean, come on. The hole is closing up. You're not going to get enough space in there. I mean, bonehead. Absolute bonehead move. So, with that being said, the starting lineup for the Daytona 500 is officially set. Their guys are going backup cars, including William Byron. Will the engine hold with Alex Bowman in practice tomorrow? We will find out. The Cup cars don't take track today because later tonight, the Next Era Energy 250 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season begins. I cannot wait for this race. 36 trucks are going to be battling out for the win, and it's going to be battle between veterans, young guns. I mean, we've got Nat Kraft and Johnny Sauter versus Brett Moffitt, Sheldon Creed. We've got Haley Deegan in the trucks, baby. I'm so excited for her. I can't wait to see what she does this season starting tonight. She's going to be aggressive in her Monster Energy Ford for David Gilliland Racing. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I will recap the race at the end of tonight, and I'll give you the recap of the NASCAR Xfinity race tomorrow evening after it is concluded. And of course, I'll be here after Sunday for the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. So it's time to go truck racing tonight. It's time to go beating and banging and hang 'em loose riding for a win at Daytona. So subscribe, like, congrats to both the Hendricks cars on the front row for the 500. Though Byron's got to start at the rear. Congrats to Erik Amarola and Austin Dillon winning their duels. And congratulations to Austin Cindric and Kaz Grala for making the Daytona 500. So with that being said, I'll see you later.